sometimes the dumbest character in the room turns out to be the most dangerous.
I am the Dragon Warrior.
See the giant dragon?
The guy everyone laughs at. The one nobody takes seriously. The comic relief, because every once in a while they stop joking around, and everything changes. So today, we're talking about the dumb characters who proved they were never useless. They were just waiting for the right moment. Flash. Justice League Unlimited. In Justice League Unlimited, the Flash is the team's self-appointed jokester. He cracks wise during dangerous missions, flirts at the worst possible moments, and carries himself like the playful younger brother of a group that includes Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Nobody expects much from the guy who's too busy snacking to seem serious, and for most of the series, he's fine with that. He lets people laugh, he keeps things light, he never tries to prove anything. Then Brainiac merges with Lex Luthor, and the entire league falls apart. Superman is down, Batman is down, the rest of the team is helpless, and the only hero still standing is the guy everyone treated like comic relief. That's when Flash switches gears. He pushes beyond anything the League thought he was capable of, running around the world again and again until his speed reaches a staggering level. He attacks Luthor directly and begins tearing away Brainiac's technology piece by piece, not through strategy or teamwork, but through sheer, terrifying force. The teammate they laughed with becomes something they can barely comprehend. The victory almost cost him everything. Flash nearly disappears into the Speed Force entirely, pulled back only by his teammates at the last second. After that fight, no one in the League looks at him the same way again. The funny one was never the weakest link. He was their hidden weapon, and it took their worst crisis to prove it. Po, Kung Fu Panda.
Whoa!
If Flash earned his reputation by playing dumb, Po earned his by being genuinely, enthusiastically terrible at Kung Fu. When he first arrives at the Jade Palace, the Furious Five look at this clumsy, food-obsessed panda and see exactly what he appears to be, a fan who wandered too far from his noodle shop. For a while, they're not wrong. Po stumbles through training, idolizes everyone around him, and carries the kind of desperate eagerness that gets people hurt in real fights. Then, Tai Lung breaks free, and Po is the only one left to stop him. What follows isn't a clean display of mastered technique. It's something messier and more interesting. Po improvises. He uses his size as an advantage, absorbs punishment no trained warrior could survive, and adapts in ways the formal system of Kung Fu never prepared anyone for. He defeats one of China's most dangerous fighters because he stops trying to fit the mold and turns every awkward part of himself into an advantage. And then he says, skadoosh. Like, it was always going to go that way.
Skadoosh.
The sequels push him further. In the second film, he achieves a state of inner peace that lets him redirect a cannonball with his bare hands. In the third, he trains an entire village, unlocks chi, and enters the spirit realm. The panda who once couldn't climb the palace stairs without collapsing ends up becoming a legend, and you believe it because you watched every embarrassing step of the journey. Sokka, Avatar, The Last Airbender.
And the best part is, the eclipse isn't even our biggest advantage.
We have a secret. You.
Me? Yep, the whole world thinks you're dead. Isn't that great?
Po had to discover what made him powerful. Sokka's struggle was different. He had to accept that his strengths counted at all. In a group of elementally gifted benders, Sokka is just a normal kid with sarcasm, a boomerang, and a constant fear that he does not belong. He fills the comic relief role with full awareness, cracking jokes even as his teammates reshape the physical world around him. But underneath the humor is a quiet, persistent insecurity. The feeling that no matter how hard he tries, he's just the sidekick in someone else's story. Sokka's master forces that tension into the open. After watching Toph shatter a meteor to save everyone while he stands helplessly on the sidelines, Sokka makes a choice. He seeks out Master Piandao, not because he has a gift, but because he refuses to stay useless. The jokes disappear. He trains in silence, earns real skill, and forges a sword from a fallen meteorite with his own hands. Then comes the day of Black Sun. Sokka planned the entire invasion. When his father is wounded mid-battle, Sokka does not freeze or hide behind a joke. He takes command. The group's so-called dumb one was never useless. He was the strategist, waiting for everyone else to notice. Miles Morales, Spider-Verse.
So are you like a cow or a Dalmatian?
Sokka's arc was about proving he had a place on the team. Miles Morales' arc is about deciding that the place is already his. In Into the Spider-Verse, Miles doesn't look like Spider-Man. He sticks to walls at the wrong moments, crashes instead of landing, and struggles to find his rhythm. Even the alternate universe Spider people aren't sure he's ready to handle a real crisis. And honestly, neither is he. But self-doubt and incompetence aren't the same thing. And the film knows it. Miles absorbs guidance from Peter B. Parker, finds his footing with Gwen Stacy, and slowly stops waiting for permission to be who he already is. When he finally takes that leap of faith, he stops trying to earn the title and just becomes Spider-Man. He takes down Kingpin, he steps in. Across the Spider-Verse makes it harder. Now Miles isn't just doubting himself. An entire spider society is telling him he's wrong to exist. Miguel O'Hara insists Miles is an anomaly, that his father's death is a canon event that has to happen. The system designed to protect spider people is the thing standing between Miles and his chance to save his dad. That's when he locks in for real. Not just with his powers, but with his mind. He plays recklessly while actually thinking steps ahead, draws the Spider Society away from their base, and escapes with one clear goal. No waiting for approval, no asking for permission. He refuses to accept a future written by someone else. Then outsmarts an entire organization to take control of his own story. Mater. Cars. Miles fought a system trying to define him. Mater is different because he never even realizes people are looking down on him. In Cars, Mater seems like exactly what everyone assumes he is. A cheerfully oblivious tow truck who tells tall tales and misses the point of almost every situation. He's comic relief in a world of speed and competition, and even Lightning McQueen, his closest friend, tends to overlook just how capable Mater actually is. Then Cars 2 drops him into international espionage, which is a sentence that somehow exists. Through a case of mistaken identity, elite British agents Finn McMissile and Holly Shiftwell assume Mater is an undercover spy. He's not. But here's what's remarkable. It barely matters. Because of Mater's specific brand of uselessness, his obsession with obscure car parts, his attention to strange details nobody else notices, turns out to be the one thing the mission actually needs. He doesn't become a slick, trained agent. He stays himself completely. His tow cable becomes surprisingly useful. His random knowledge cracks open the conspiracy. His ability to notice what no one else thinks to look for ultimately exposes Sir Miles Axelrod as the villain. Mater does not get serious by transforming into someone cooler. He succeeds because the traits everyone dismissed finally become useful. Timon, the Lion King. Mater stumbled into a mission where his quirks saved the day. Timon has a different test, choosing bravery when every instinct tells him to run. Throughout The Lion King, Timon is the architect of avoidance. His whole philosophy, Hakuna Matata, is basically a survival strategy. Avoid guilt, avoid danger, and avoid responsibility. When young Simba shows up broken and lost, Timon's first instinct isn't empathy. It's an inconvenience. Taking in a traumatized lion cub sounds like the kind of problem he built his life to avoid. But he does it anyway. And slowly, without fully realizing it, Timon builds something he never intended to. A family. When Simba decides to return to Pride Rock, it threatens the comfortable life Timon constructed around forgetting. He resists, then he follows. And when the hyenas arrive, the meerkat who dedicated his existence to self-preservation steps directly into danger, using himself as a distraction, putting his body on the line so others can escape. That is not the behavior of someone fearless. It's the behavior of someone who finally found something worth being afraid to lose. In The Lion King 2, his chaos becomes tactical. In Simba's Pride, it happens again and again. Mushu, Mulan. Timon's bravery grows out of love. Mushu starts in a much messier place. Ego. When he attaches himself to Mulan, his motivations have nothing to do with her. She isn't a person he wants to protect. She's just his redemption ticket. If she becomes a war hero, he gets his status back. Imagine being so desperate to keep your job that you impersonate a literal god. In his mind, Mulan is less a person he's helping, and more a vehicle for his own comeback story. That selfishness makes his early guidance exactly as chaotic as you'd expect. Well-meaning, questionable in execution, and more entertaining than effective. But even while acting primarily for himself, Mushu keeps showing up. He stays in the fight. And somewhere along the way, without announcing it, he stops chasing status and starts caring about her survival. That shift becomes undeniable when he follows Mulan into real danger. Not because it helps his cause, but because it's her. He pushes past his limitations, doing everything his tiny dragon body can manage to keep her alive. In Mulan 2, his flaws resurface. He meddles in Mulan and Shang's relationship to protect his position, creating problems for the people he's supposed to support. But even there, when it gets serious, he course corrects, going so far as to impersonate the Golden Dragon of Unity to resolve the conflict. Mushu never becomes a great dragon in the traditional sense, but he proves something more interesting, that locking in doesn't require being selfless from the start. It means choosing the right side, at the exact second it matters most. Rigby, regular show. Most characters in this video have a single defining scene where they finally step up. Rigby is different. His transformation is a slow burn, which makes it even more satisfying. In the early seasons of regular show, Rigby is chaos in raccoon form. Lazy, impulsive, and allergic to responsibility. Half the disasters at the park start because of him, and Mordecai is usually left cleaning up the mess. That was always their arrangement. Then, quietly, the Eileen plan changes everything. Rigby discovers he feels unworthy of Eileen because he never finished high school. So he goes back, secretly, without telling anyone, canceling plans and carrying the weight alone. When the truth comes out and he's confronted, he doesn't deflect or joke his way out of it. He takes full accountability. He admits the truth rather than dodging it. The raccoon who once ran from every consequence is now trying to become someone better. Then Mordecai falls apart after a devastating breakup and gets trapped in the literal depression pit of Dumptown, USA. In a massive role reversal, Rigby is the one who has to step up. He leaves his stable relationship with Eileen behind for a day, willingly diving into Dumptown's toxic emotional chaos just to pull his best friend out of a spiral. He risks getting sucked into the stagnation himself, but he refuses to leave Mordecai behind. The character who spent seasons creating problems becomes the one willing to break himself to fix them. That's why Rigby's arc hits hardest. The others get a single heroic turning point. Rigby gets an entire final arc of growth. Built slowly, earned completely, and finished without a joke to soften it. Because the funniest character doesn't always stay that way. Sometimes, they're just waiting for something worth being serious about. What's crazy is that most of these characters weren't the strongest in their world. They won because they locked in at the right moment. But if we're talking pure impact, it's hard to ignore how much everything changed when they finally took things seriously. Let me know in the comments which dumb character lock-in moment hit you the hardest. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the next video on your screen.